right, here we go. Hello, my name is Lee Taylor. I'm going to be talking about my creating project a little different way. I'm actually inside the program I would use in my project. This is Minecraft. Anyone who's a parent certainly remembers this. I better get inside. It's nighttime. It's quite dangerous. The platform I'm playing on is Xbox, actually, but we'll be talking more about the computer format. Let me take a quick nap there. It's nighttime. It's pretty dangerous. And we're back up. Alright, so this is Minecraft, and we're going to talk about a way to use Minecraft to teach competing economic systems. Sort of an idea I had. First of all, I'm recovering from surgery this weekend, so if I'm a little not myself, that's probably why, but I should be able to get through this. Okay. So the rationale for this idea of using Minecraft in education is that children, especially young children, they don't really grasp the idea of economic systems, complex systems of supply and demand. But they are very familiar with a resource management simulator, which Minecraft is. Almost got blowed up there. So basically Minecraft is a game in which players mine various materials, including wood, plants, as well as agriculture, essentially, animal husbandry, and everything in this world, and then we dig underground for materials. So everything in this world is used to build other things, just like our own world. And then I got to thinking of the idea of what if we did this to act out various economic systems. So using tools like Minecraft EDU, in which if you have network computers, multiple students can populate the same area, and you can create a system of command and control, an economic system, using either a market economy, which basically is capitalism, or a command economy, i.e. socialism, or some sort of autocratic system where the government dictates prices and controls, okay? And the way we do that is then each student in the simulation would be given an industry. So for example, one student would be in charge of meat and setting prices for meat. Maybe two students are, and they can compete. But then every student, you got to eat to live, has to use meat, has to go through that meat vendor to get it, okay? And you track these through outside sources, through either blogs or Excel spreadsheets, and that's the idea. So that the teams get together. You can either do this consecutively or concurrently, depending on the size, and each one uses sort of a 5-day simulation, and at the end of each day, they'll blog about their impressions for each system. Which one has the better way? Is it better where everyone just sort of, like in the little house over there, piles all the resources together and then splits them equally, and then everyone builds their town that way? The idea is to build a town or a small city. So everyone, would it work better where everyone pulls together, or would it work better where the economy is quote-unquote specialized, and you have to go to one student for lumber, one student for minerals, one student for livestock, and then how the simulation then, maybe even one who controls the water, because water is controlled through source blocks, as a way to demonstrate which system works better for everyone. So technology, and I'll just sort of play around here with my pickaxe, is that, okay, so you need a platform to run it, okay? In the school setting, this would most likely be PC, because it's really hard to have sort of 30 networked Xboxes. Would be very difficult to do. But fortunately, it doesn't have a lot of system requirements, especially now since Minecraft's been out for quite a few years. Sorry, pig. And then increasingly, and you can also buy bulk licenses from services like Minecraft EDU, in which specific servers are set up, and then students could have anonymous logins and interact that way, along with sort of oversight by the instructor. There's wood. Oh, but I broke an axe. Perhaps we have a person that just makes the axes. Excuse me. Okay, so students are generally familiar with this. Most have it, even if it's only a $5 version on Kindle. Most students are intimately familiar with Minecraft at this point. If you don't think that's true, ask a kid, and I guarantee it's true. So using Minecraft EDU, though, teachers can rent dedicated servers, which is $25 a month after initial licensing per copy, which varies in rate depending on how many licenses you're buying, and those are permanent licenses. Those don't need to be renewed every time you get a new class per se. So it can range from anywhere from $6.99 if you're using mobile platforms to $27.95 on PC. So what skills and knowledge? So the students basically have all the skills. The only external skills they need is the sort of because there's no in-game data management or resource management tool as far as if you want to create pricing for your economy. If it's not just going to be sort of an agrarian share-as-you-go system, you'll need some like a blog or Excel spreadsheets or some sort of tool to track prices. Like a mini stock market they could even create for trading. But the teachers themselves might not be as familiar. So it doesn't take very long to familiarize yourself. There are two modes in Minecraft. Either survival, which everyone has to sort of gather their own tools to make things, or there's creative, which is basically everything's freely available and you can make whatever you want to make. Okay, it's better to do survival probably for the students. Okay, but the teachers have to know just enough also about the competing economic systems. They have to be able to explain the market and command economies that you're going to be using to the students, but not in such a way as to sort of prejudice the results. If you're sort of a Bernie Sanders voter, you might have to be careful about how you talk about command economies. Here we have a furnace where you can actually cook meat and make more materials. Just a quick example there. And you could have one person in charge of that. So the students need to know just enough about this program, which most of them do. If they're switching to the PC version, they will have to be familiar with WASD controls, since the computer version does not support controllers. This is, like I said, this is the Xbox One version. But the basic systems are the same. Okay. So what will they exactly have to do? Okay, so basically it's just me in this, but you'd have multiple students, say, in this same server. Imagine this sort of without this little shoddily made dirt house that I've made. I spent a little time earlier doing. So they create an entire town based on a command or market economy. And you can do this, like I said, you can either do this consecutively, or you can make two separate towns in the same, like over this mountain, you'd make another town based on the other principles. So early hours, be sort of hunter-gatherer. You're sort of, okay, I got to kill a cow. And eventually you can, instead of just killing for meat, eventually you'll be able to have an entire farm where you actually breed animals. And that could be a separate task. And then how do you set prices for that? You would dictate the currency, okay, which will probably best be done using the mining materials as currency. So then they go through a whole day of this. They compete for a larger share, if that's your model. And at the end of the day, the group comes out of the game back together and writes a blog entry about their experiences. What were the challenges? What was it not fair that Dave was charging $60 for a pork chop and Sharon was not. Does Sharon think that's unfair? And then at the end of the simulation, the idea is that they take the lessons learned from here and then apply that to solutions for real world problems like poverty or urban, crowding or sort of middle class flight, anything like that, and however they can apply it. Okay. Now, as far as what this requires for school districts, this will require definitely computers that can handle it, which isn't, if you look at this isn't Call of Duty or anything. This is fairly simple. The PC version is not terribly well optimized, so you will need a little bit of processing power, but you will need a license. But once in there, it's basically, as I said, they'll log into Minecraft. They'd have to choose a system of government, either through edict or, if you're sort of a command market dictatorship, you just pick one person, and then they set prices. They decide who does what and select talent. And then you would govern the economy based on that market principle, collaborate using voice and or text chat, track money using outside game tools like Excel or blogs. And then at the end of the day, or at the end of the whole exercise, make qualitative and numerical summaries in the group blog about both systems. And then you're going to report your conclusions. Okay? So the advantage of this project, there aren't any repeating costs, like I said, other than the initial licensing. And you don't want to... This will give an actual way, instead of just like some sort of video of where market or command economies succeeded or failed, this allows them to figure it out, the student to figure it out. So that's a distinct advantage. They're able to understand it in a fun, engaging way that just some sort of PowerPoint slide isn't allowed to give them. And it will give them, they'll find that neither system is perfect. And that's probably the best lesson, because such issues as these economic systems issues always get demagogued into sort of like a utopian one versus the oppressive other. And then this will show the students that nothing is perfect. It's all about governance, which is important for them to learn. So the disadvantages, this is not without its challenges. There are costs involved. This isn't just simple off the shelf. You do have to pay for licenses, or you're sort of outside the legal purview. Teachers and students may be unfamiliar with the game, which is still possible, even though it's quite ubiquitous at this point. And then also we have to look at, okay, if you're going complete laissez-faire capitalism, and sort of students get too into the roles, there is a danger of students perhaps being sort of, bullied, or the competition leads to such that there will be winners and losers in this economy, basically. And you want the students to understand that that's not a reflection of them personally. It's just a straight up simulation. One of the great things about Minecraft is other than the systems of the game, which are collecting resources and creating things with it, and then of course at night there are zombies and monsters and giant spiders trying to kill you, there's a lot of flexibility. There's no, okay, to do this story you have to do part A and then part B and then part C. It's really up to the user. In that sense, as far as its transferability, it's very easy to do that. This could be done for other things other than just economics. This could be just to teach about geology, or in a basic way how things are made of other things. Or it could be for sort of geometry, geometrical shapes. You have them create a rhombus or a square, or give the students an equal number of cubes, because these are all cubes essentially, and ask them to design different buildings and calculate the volume, or which ones can